Hello, I welcome you all to another session of our e-learning. This is week 5 and Social Studies lesson 8 for JHS 1. We are discussing Social Studies for JHS 1, week 5, lesson 8. And we are looking at production in Ghana, which we started last week. We discussed primary production, we discussed secondary production, and today we are discussing tertiary production. Tertiary production. Our objectives or aim for today's lesson is that by the end of the lesson, the student will be able to describe the tertiary production sector in Ghana, identify the role of the tertiary sector towards Ghana's development, and identify problems facing the sector and suggested solutions to the problems. I'm hopeful that you listen attentively and make some meaning or understanding out of this so that okay. Tertiary production in Ghana. Tertiary production involves the rendering of services and distribution of goods. So tertiary production basically has to do with the sector that looks at rendering services and distributing goods. It includes wholesale and retail trade, transport, communication, banking and finance and insurance, hospitality, that has to do with the hotels, the tourism, the restaurants, and so on, health, education, and the fashion industry. And the fashion industry is very wide, a very big one, from fashion designers to hairstylists to makeup artists. They are all part of the fashion industry. Tertiary industries are scattered all over the country, and in every region, district, or community, you may find a tertiary sector business. Note that the hairdressers, tailors, cobblers, and cleaners all fall under the tertiary production sector. Excuse me, let me correct this quickly, and then we'll move on. Scattered. Fall. Okay. I'm sorry for that. Now let's continue. The role of the tertiary production sector, just like we discussed with the primary production and secondary production, the tertiary production sector also creates a lot of employment opportunities for citizens and even non-citizens in the country. A lot of people are employed in the tertiary sector in Ghana, and through their activities they generate income to the state through taxes, tolls, rent, rates, royalties, and so on. In the same way, they pay their employees, and so Employees also get money for their pockets and they pay income tax on what they earn. The tertiary sector also contributes a lot to foreign exchange generation. For example, the hotel industry, the tourism industry contribute a lot to foreign exchange. Foreigners who come on tour and foreign business people who use or patronize our hotels. Contribute a lot of foreign exchange into the economy. And the tertiary sector provides technical know-how and expert advice to primary and secondary industries. So consultants, managers, administrators, and so on provide, and some professionals within the tertiary sector provide technical know-how and expert advice to primary and secondary industries so that they can thrive with changing conditions, be it economical or political conditions. Then, they also provide services to sustain the activities of the secondary and primary industries. For example, when the primary sector and secondary sector have extracted their raw materials and processed them into finished goods, the transport industry, which is part of the tertiary sector, that does the distribution. It is the advertisement people, which is part of the tertiary sector, that is communications, that does the advertisement of their product, and so on. So each sector of production or each form of production is very, very important to the total economic well-being of the state. But the tertiary sector is not free of problems. They also have problems they are facing, just like the secondary and primary sector. The tertiary sector also has its own problems. Lack of finance or credit facilities is one of the problems the tertiary sector faces. Tertiary sector businesses sometimes find it difficult to get funding to support their business and to carry out their plans. So generally, access to credit facilities in our country is not so easy. It's a big challenge. Then the tertiary sector has a very high rate of unemployment. The teeming number of graduates from the various universities and tertiary institutions in the country are so overwhelming that the government or the state and even private sector are not able to provide jobs for all these people. And the competition for job in the tertiary sector is very high. For that matter, there is high rate of unemployment. Then poor wages and salaries is another. Most tertiary sector industries pay very poor wages and salaries to their employees. Some even go to the extent of paying below the minimum wage level, which is very bad. Brain drain is another. Most specialists and professionals who are needed to help build the tertiary sector in Ghana, especially the technology and information industries in Ghana, and other professionals have the idea that working in Ghana is not so profitable because the reward or the remunerations are very low, and so most of these professionals leave the country to foreign lands to ply their trades there so that they can earn more. And that is really bad. If the number of professional Ghanaian experts and professionals in the tertiary sector in other countries should come back to Ghana to help the country with their knowledge and their skills, I think things would have been better. Then poor working conditions, the environment within which some of these people work in the tertiary industry is very bad. The workers' health, the workers' well-being, psychological and physical well-being is not so much of a concern. It's one challenge facing the tertiary sector in Ghana. But to every challenge, there is a solution. It's just that getting the solution is the problem. The solution is available, but putting in place issues, putting in place plans, putting in place ideas and policies that will solve the problems becomes an issue. And sometimes the plans are there, but implementing it is a problem. And so some solutions to the problems facing the tertiary sector is improving access to credit facilities. And this has to do with government policies. The Bank of Ghana and which is the regulatory body for the banking and financial institutions, can introduce certain policies under the directive of the government to ensure that people get access, business people get access to credit facilities at very flexible rates. Then improving remunerations. It should start first from the public, because the government that sets the scale with which all others are measured. And so if the public sector is able to improve their remunerations, it will help to check the private sector and ensure that people are paid well for what they do. Some years back, there was an introduction of the single spine salary structure to take care of these problems. I think you can read about that on the net. Single spine salary structure. What is it? There was an introduction of that to take care of the issue of poor wages and salaries. It has worked to some extent, but it can still be improved. So improving remunerations is one solution to the problem. Then improving working conditions. Workplaces should be made to standard. Buildings and facilities in which these employees work should be standard. The chairs they use, the machines they use, tools and equipment and materials they use for their works. The business people, the managers and directors and administrators should have the employees in mind, their health and their well-being, their welfare. When that is done, people work with satisfaction, knowing that their employers are concerned about them, and so they give in their best. Then improving local demand for goods and services is also very important. There are a lot of tertiary businesses in Ghana that provides all the services and goods that the Ghanaians will need. But people go ahead to get these services from companies overseas because they do not trust the services of the ones here at home. So improving local demand for goods and services is also very important. One of the best solutions to the problems that the tertiary sector faces. Then good government policies and economic plans for businesses to succeed is also very important. One of the solutions to the problem facing the tertiary industry. When government make policies and plans, that makes establishing businesses and growing businesses very flexible and easy, it will help the tertiary sector to grow and employ as many people as possible. Things like tax holidays, policies like government support, and so on for startup businesses. Well, the governments, successive governments in Ghana have been trying, but it's still not enough. For example, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program, NEIP, and the National Youth Employment Authority has certain financial assistance it gives to some selected young entrepreneurs. And recently, in the COVID-19 pandemic outbreak, there has been some COVID-19 relief funds that are supposed to be disbursed to businesses that have been affected and all that. Programs like that will help the tertiary sector to develop and grow. There should be a deliberate effort to introduce such programs and policies to make business setup or setting up business and the success of business in the country much easier. I hope you have enjoyed today's lessons, and I hope you have learned so much. As a test of your knowledge on what has been discussed, you answer the following questions. State 2 contributions of tertiary production to the economy of Ghana. State 2 problems the tertiary production sector is facing in Ghana. And then 3, suggest 2 solutions to the problems facing tertiary production in Ghana. I wish you good luck. Until we meet again on this platform, stay safe. Keep observing all the COVID-19 protocols. Keep washing your hands regularly. Keep using your hand sanitizers. Continue wearing your face mask. It is an offense to go out without your face mask. You may be prosecuted and jailed. And so, don't step out of your house without your face mask. But above all, stay at home because you don't have so much to do in town. Stay at home and keep learning. Bye-bye.